I'm Gregory. Today my group and I will be talking about boundary layers and laminar airflow. I'll begin by introducing what a boundary layer is. In fluid mechanics, a boundary layer is the region where a flow of liquid or gas is affected by the viscous shearing forces caused by fluid viscosity from a solid wall. At the wall, fluid velocity is zero due to the non-slip condition, after which a velocity profile develops from zero at the wall until it reaches the free stream velocity. The distance that it takes to do so is known as the boundary layer thickness. The shear stresses in the fluid over this region are a function of viscosity and the velocity gradient. This is further elaborated by Wenzong.
Thank you, Gregory. As mentioned, shear stress in the fluid over the region is a viscosity and velocity gradient function. However, what are they? The viscosity of a fluid is a measure of its resistance to deformation at a given rate. In a more straightforward way of saying, it is a measure of fluid's resistance to flow. On the other hand, velocity gradient can be defined as the rate of velocity change along with the distance. Velocity gradient are used as it is hard to specify displacement in fluids. Hence, using particles' velocity as a function of the position at that instant is the ideal solution. Therefore, with a higher gradient, there will be more shear stress. Newton's law of viscosity states that the shear stress between adjacent fluid layers is proportional to the value of the velocity gradient between the two layers. So next, James will discuss the aerodynamic resistance caused by the contact of moving air on the aircraft's surface.
I'll be discussing an aerodynamic resistance, skin drag, caused by the contact of moving air on the surface of the aircraft. Skin friction is
the integral of
wall shear stress, defined as the derivative of velocity multiplied by the dynamic viscosity in the wall normal direction at a solid surface, and it continues significantly to fluid mechanic drag. Laminar, transition region, and turbulent are the three types of flow that will occur in the boundary layer. As air flows passes the leading edge from stagnation to laminar flow, they ascend to the transition area with greater height and swirls than the preceding limits. As it approaches the end of the airfoil, it will enter turbulence along the trailing edge, which has the largest airflow separation and hence contributes the most drag in the airfoil. Another factor that influences shear stress is having significant friction on the surface, as shear stress are mostly caused by friction between fluid particles caused by fluid viscosity. These insights assist us in comprehending specific external concerns while we estimate lift values in our design airfoil. This is crucial to remember as we actually go through the design process in designing our own airfoil.
Hi, my name is Rayton and I'll be introducing the boundary layer growth. The separation of boundary layers is a critical issue for the airplane wings. Because of the no-slip condition, when the incoming uniform flow runs over the airfoil, the fluid particles close to the surface stick to it. When the thickness at the leading edge of the airfoil is zero, the boundary layer begins to grow. Particles closer to the surface decelerates as the flow travels down the airfoil. If the pressure gradient is greater than zero for an extended duration, the boundary layer can be decelerated until the flow is reversed. When the velocity gradient is zero, the boundary layer separates. As a result of pressure differences upstream and downstream of the wing, a drag force is generated. If the AOA is too high, this may cause a deep stall, unless a separation bubble forms and the flow is able to reattach downstream of the separation point.
Hi, I'm Hakim and I'll be talking about the differences between laminar and turbulent flow with the aid of computational fluid dynamics simulations. Laminar airflow is smooth and uniform, while turbulent flow is rotational and turbulent. Areas of turbulent flow experience a dramatic loss in lift and an equally dramatic rise in drag. As such, it is desirable to have a laminar wing that maximizes the amount of laminar flow and delays the onset of separation and turbulent flow. However, a laminar wing does not mean that the flow will always be laminar. There may be some turbulent flow, but the design of the airfoil is meant to reduce this region as much as possible. Here are two vector plots of two airfoils. one laminar on the right and non-laminar on the left. Most of the flow around the boundaries is laminar, but towards the end of both airfoils, there is a region of turbulence and reversed flow. For the laminar wing on the right, the area which experiences this turbulent flow is comparatively smaller, by about half. Since friction due to turbulent flow is much greater than friction due to laminar flow, this would mean that the overall drag of a laminar wing is less, since it has more laminar flow and less turbulent flow. And that concludes this short video on boundary layers and the types of flow. We hope you enjoyed this video.